Good morning, fellow traders. Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators here. It is 5:45 a.m. on Friday, March 15th. The end of another week is here. We got another weekend coming up. What are we going to do on Saturday with the markets closed? We might have to actually step away into the real world. All right. Well, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. And please do give us your feedback. Leave us your comments. Let us know if you're ever here live on the stream this early. It would be great to hear from you. And of course, give us a thumbs up, please, if you would as well. That is very helpful for us in getting the message out. All right, let's start off with the S&P 500, as I do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. And we are in a very interesting place right now. So price has refused to pull back. I was expecting a pullback somewhere in this area, right? There was a 70% probability that price was going to pull back in this area, but that leaves a 15% probability for it to get somewhere down here. And at the moment, that's what it looks like it did, because we have actually broken this high here, just barely, but we have broken it. You can see it on the 60. There's that level there, and we poked just above it twice. So we are in an extremely interesting place right now, because if in fact price is able to hop up over this zone, over this sell zone right here, and hold, then that means we're going to have another move up, and it's going to be a strong move up. It's going to be very interesting to see if, in fact, that comes to pass. Because if it does, then I would expect a challenge and probably a break of the all-time highs, which would be obviously exceedingly bullish for this market. However, there's some things that concern me. Big one is this right here. We have the awesome MACD, which is very definitely declining, right? As price is going higher, 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 it is going lower, 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 lower. So it is getting weaker and weaker. The momentum is draining out of this market. So I have a difficult time with the idea that the market has enough energy in it, enough momentum to actually carry it all the way up to a whole nother leg to the upside. You can see it on the 60-minute as well, 60-minute even in the shorter term. Just this push right here, right, has not been a strong push. It's been getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Yes, there was the initial thrust upwards, and that had some strength to it. And then very quickly, the strength is just drained out. And right now, we're getting dangerously close to crossing the zero line. So that is a concerning sign for the upside. If I'm a bull in this market right now, I'm really nervous at this level. You can see the 60-minute sell zone from back here has been acting as very good kind of support and resistance. Really, price just gets stuck in this area here. Wants to get above it, but so far, one time, two times, three times, so far it has not been able to do it. That combined with a declining awesome MACD, and I just don't like the looks of this. So be really cautious at these levels. Could it break higher and if we start a whole nother leg to the upside? Yes, of course, it's possible. But the signs right now internally are just not looking good. I just don't see that kind of momentum, that kind of strength in this market. So keep that in mind. It is possible that this is finally the point where it taps out, and then we finally get our pullback to this level. And I would have to adjust my retracement lines, because obviously I was expecting this to be the retracement. And at the moment, that hasn't happened. But remember, there's that 15% chance that this is all we get. So that could be reasonable. This could be the expected pullback. But like I said, I just don't like this. So be really cautious at these levels if you're even contemplating any kind of a longer term long. If you're going to play the short term, sure, there could be a little pop to the upside, but even the short term is looking very, very weak. So be prepared. If you get a profit handed to you, maybe take it and run rather quickly. Today certainly, and possibly in the next week. We'll have to see if today ends up being a bull day or a bear day or a sideways day. Oftentimes, Fridays are bear days as profits from the week are taken, especially profits to the upside from the week. So we'll have to see if that happens again today. All right, let's take a look at the crude oil market, see what's happening there. And basically see a similar kind of thing playing out. I've been waiting for a pullback, waiting for a pullback, waiting for a pullback, and it just hasn't happened. This market has been just insisting on grinding higher, and it is grinding higher. We're getting, an uptrend, but again, awesome MACD is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Now it's not in the super danger zone yet, right? We're still up above the zero line, but it's declining, and that is concerning. You can see it on the 60 even more clearly. In the 60, it's much more extreme. We've certainly had a continuing uptrend, but it is getting weak. And right now, in the last few hours, in fact, we're getting a little bit of a sell off on the 60. So just be aware of that. Trade cautiously. This uptrend line from way back here is not really valid anymore. I will put it right about there. And that would be a reasonable thing to expect, is at least maybe a correction down to the uptrend line if the uptrend is going to hold. But like I said, we really are waiting for that pullback. We're expecting to see one, and as of yet, it just hasn't happened. So maybe this is giving us our first indications that it's preparing. But that being said, as long as price keeps marching higher, then that is the direction. That is the trend. I mean, right now you can see the 21 EMA is pointing up on the daily. On the 60, it has just hooked around and is starting to poke to the downside. But I mean, we've seen that before. We saw a big pullback here and then a huge move up. So don't just jump based on something as small as that. We need to see some breaks of higher lows, and that right now that would be this level in the 60-minute, and really it would be down here. It would be this zone here, on the daily. Need to get below this low here in order to really signify a real pullback happening. All right, let's take a look at gold. And gold got a little bit whacked recently and is now trying to recover. So this retracement here is a retracement to about the 50% level. So that's a healthy, decent retracement. We had oscillator weakening. The awesome MACD oscillator was getting weaker and weaker as price was going higher. One, two, three, and then it gave up. So we very well could be getting ready for the next upswing now. So if this low holds, as long as this low holds, if this high is broken, then there's no question we have another leg to the upside. I would be watching very closely for a cross of the zero line on the awesome MACD oscillator. Right now, on the daily basis, the MACD line is just crossing the signal line right there. You can just see it. So our first hints of bullishness coming into this market are there right now. If you're a really aggressive trader, you might consider a long at this level, because you can put your stop just below the low of these candles here and have a relatively low risk entry. But definitely be aware that if this fails and comes back down, then the downtrend is not done yet. This down move here. On the 60, we have crossed the zero line on the 60, and of course the MACD line crossed the signal line way back here as the oscillator started to turn around and gain strength. So we've got our sign on the 60 that right now the trend is up. And so that is the direction to trade. If you're an intraday trader, short-term trader, something like that, right now we're looking to trade to the upside. Watch out, of course, for this high here. It's got to break that to have any kind of continuation to the upside. I am a little concerned about this. We do have the oscillator here, and the oscillator there is lower. So we have a divergent oscillator. As price is making higher highs, oscillator is making lower highs. So that's not necessarily the end of the world, because we did already get this correction and we did not break the previous higher low. So right now, uptrend is intact, but we need to take out this level here in order to continue higher. So watch for that on the 60. And right now, if you are an intraday trader, you're trading to the upside. That's just the way to go. There's our 21 EMA, and it is hooked around and pointing up. But the 21 EMA on the daily is basically sideways. So we don't have a really clear-cut trend on the dailies. Right now, short-term trading is probably your thing to do if you want to trade gold. Natural gas is trying to go to the upside. It's definitely building some momentum. We've got the oscillator is divergent to the upside, while price was making lower lows, oscillator was making higher lows. So we have a bullishly divergent oscillator on the awesome MACD. We do have the MACD line above the signal line that crossed right about there. and it has been holding, but not a lot of spread between them. Then right now they're just kissing. So basically a sideways market right now. You can see the 21 EMA is almost flat on the daily. On the 60, we do have a little bit of a trend, but it's hooked around right now to the downside. Oscillator is divergent in the bearish direction on the 60. So we've got sort of opposing divergences. On the daily, we're bullish divergent. On the 60, we're bearish divergent. So watch very carefully. If this breaks to the downside, which right now the oscillator has crossed the zero line to the downside, and we had this couple of hours worth of pullback here, then we could continue lower and do a little bit of a pullback on this move. But as long as we maintain a higher low, then we're okay for the uptrend, and this might be able to break higher after all. Right now, it's just trying to get above that zero line. Not really done it with a lot of strength yet, but watch for that to be building. So if you are an aggressive natural gas trader, this is probably a decent long entry. You can have your stop maybe just below those lows or maybe down into the zone, depending on what your risk management parameters are and how much risk you can handle. But it does look like this market really wants to go higher. We'll have to just see if it's able to do that. If we can take out these highs here, then definitely we are going to continue higher. And lastly, Bitcoin. And there's not much to say about Bitcoin because it's just doing another one of its little sideways things, not really going much of anywhere. Oscillator is getting weaker. So I'm a little concerned about that. If the oscillator dips below the zero line and holds there, then we could see another little bit of a sell off. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to crash. I mean, you can see it happened here, broke below the zero line and held for a while, and price just sort of drifted to the downside. It wasn't anything catastrophic, and then it was able to push up higher. So just keep an eye on that. On the 60 minutes, again, we're just not much going on. A little bit below oscillator, zero line rather, a little bit above. Not a lot of momentum going on. We're not seeing any big movements or anything. So just a very, very sideways kind of, for Bitcoin anyway, kind of a sleepy market. It's not doing a whole lot. As I've said so many times at this point, we've got to get up over this 44.15 level to be bullish. And we got to get below this level here, roughly the, what is that, 51.30, call it 51.29, somewhere around there, level. That's where we got to break to get to really be bearish. Anything else, we're just going sideways. This market is not really doing anything or going anywhere. In fact, we've already broken that. So I'm going to, oops, it deleted the wrong thing. Well, that was lovely. So there you have it. We really need to break those levels to have any kind of a sign of bullishness or bearishness. Otherwise, it's just a sideways market, not really going anywhere. So if you want to day trade Bitcoin, you can, but just watch out because look how spiky it is. It's just all over the place. When it decides to move, it goes very, very quickly. So just be prepared for that, and make sure you don't take position sizes that you can't manage. All right, one last peek at the S&P 500. Not really anything has happened in the last 15 minutes here. So right now the trend is up. We've got this uptrend here, uptrend line, and right now price is riding that line. But as I pointed out before, the oscillator is getting weaker and weaker. So just be really careful. Watch for maybe a break of that trend line, a break out of this zone to the downside that holds, and oscillator to cross below the zero line. And then we'll have a pretty solid indication that we are going to pull back. All right, that's it for me, Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators. Again, wishing you a happy Friday, good trading today. And if you would be so kind as to subscribe to our channel, that'd be great. A big welcome to the recent new subscribers. Good to see you. And if you've got any feedback for us, please do leave it. We will see it. We will take it seriously. And if you could give us a thumbs up on the video, that helps as well. We would really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.